Hello and welcome back to the Wisely Automotive YouTube channel. If you made it to the very end of the last Moving Wisely episode, you will have seen that we teased that we are starting mobile servicing. And yes, it is indeed finally the case that we can bring Wisely to you. So there you have it, Northerners. Hopefully you're all happy now. Okay, but on a serious note, why have we not done this before? Well, there are multiple reasons. Number one is that we were a little bit selfish. With us being quite a small team and we were fully booked out in the workshop for months ahead of time, there was not much of an incentive to get the mobile servicing going. And secondly, while we were keeping our eyes open for what's happening in the industry and how others are doing it, we were not quite 100% happy with what we were seeing, because the main reason why we always valued the idea of having a static workshop was that we could stock many spare parts for common i3 issues which we see pop up all the time. So what I mean, for example, if an i3 came in for a service, we would always have spare top mounts, motor mounts and gaiters in stock. So if any issues were discovered during the visual inspection, people would not have to rebook, but we would allocate enough time in the bookings to squeeze those little jobs in and get it sorted for you. So even if you traveled from further away, you wouldn't need to come back yet again month, 2 months later. But the situation has changed. We no longer have a solid roof over our head, so the plan had to adapt as well. And as you can see behind me, we fully kitted out a van with i3 parts to make it work. And this is the core difference compared to some other businesses. Yes, we could just do the simple brake fluid flush and plug the car into a computer and call it the day for a mobile service, but we still want to do it properly. So we went over our previous i3 service job cards, and with us only focusing on a single model, we can really stock a lot of spare parts. So there shouldn't really be any surprises when we are on the road, and we should still help you out even if we discover some unexpected issues. So at this point, we are happy with the solution as it is. Arthur is also working behind the scenes on a very elegant system to lift the vehicles up on your driveway quickly, but without any compromise on being able to do the visual inspections from underneath. So stay tuned for a full van tour where we show you the entire setup. But what I'm trying to say is that we have reached the point where we are comfortable charging customers money, because we know the job we will be doing will not be compromised. By the way, don't worry. This kitted out van I'm sitting in is not the e-transporter from the beginning of the video, as 50 miles of electric range wouldn't quite cut it on a busy day out. If you already had a booking for our old Raymond Road workshop, don't worry, we have compiled a list of all of the appointments and are calling you one by one, but at this point I think there's only a couple of people left to call to make alternative arrangements. If you want to book now, all future bookings will be processed using this new mobile system. We are still booking at about 6 to 8 weeks in advance, so if you want to secure a spot, it's best to call early. In fact, if you know that your service is due in 6 months' time, we've opened up the diary further forward than before, so you can book to make sure that you do not miss your due date on your regular service, for example. Simply give us a call, we will take your details and we will work out a suitable slot for you. However, if you left this until the last minute, or even worse, your i3 is not starting because the 12-volt battery died, for example, still get in touch, because chances are, given we are all over the country, for shorter jobs we will be able to squeeze you in as long as you are flexible with your timings as well. Before you proceed, it's important to acknowledge that this mobile servicing option will not work for everyone, because there are some requirements from our side which I'm afraid are non-negotiable. Firstly, and most importantly, we need a flat, hard standing surface which we can work on. In other words, your private driveway, or if you get permission, an office car park or something along those lines. I'm afraid there is no way we will be doing work on the public highway, even if you live in a quiet residential area. And even if you do have your own driveway, it still needs to be suitable. Simply put, we need to be confident that this entire procedure will go without a hiccup, without any injuries or damage to anyone's property. We also need enough area to park a van, ideally side by side, worst case scenario, in tandem with the vehicle we will be working on. The second requirement is some form of internet access. As long as you live in an area with good 4G LTE coverage, we are happy to use our own mobile hotspots, but if that's not the case, please make sure that your home Wi-Fi reaches the area which we will be working in, because this is absolutely crucial, as most jobs on the i3, being quite a modern car, require the BMW diagnostic system, which in turn requires a constant internet connection to function properly. So even for tasks like replacing the 12-volt battery, which seems like an analog job, the last stage is coding the battery to the vehicle, so the internet access is required. In terms of what we can offer, it's pretty much unchanged from our workshop options, with the obvious caveat being that we can't perform jobs where the entire drivetrain needs dropping, and likewise we cannot fit tires using this mobile setup. So if you got some Michelins from us, you will still need to get those fitted locally. However, if you're a Londoner, at our new site we will have tire fitting equipment and a wheel balancing machine as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that if you want us to be in charge of your wheels and tires in the future. But yeah, basically other than that, anything is possible. So based on what we have seen on these early bookings, the most popular option is fulfilling the regular service interval, which on the i3 is once every 2 years, regardless of mileage, and we can service both BEVs and range extenders as well, and you will still get the same comprehensive check over of the vehicle, including a visual inspection and plugging into the BMW diagnostic machine, as you would have had if you visited our workshop before. And yeah, all the other usual i3 culprits like 12-volt batteries, gaiters, top mounts, etc. That's all possible to do mobily as well. Pricing wise, it's going to be the same as the workshop prices. So if you've ever seen our fixed price menu for all the things we can do, that still applies going forward. And if you are a Wisely customer, you do get a slightly cheaper labor rate as a little thank you from us. However, to make this all work, the UK will be divided into different zones, and there will be a distance fee to pay on top of the job. So with any booking, you pay a fixed distance fee, which is all derived based on how far away you are from us. This applies per booking. So if your i3 needs more jobs, if you bundle them in all together, you're essentially getting better value for money because you only pay a single distance fee. Speaking of which, the distance fee is basically there just to cover our costs. And if you look at it from your perspective, if you factor in the value of your own time and how much it would actually cost to drive an i3 down into London, whether that be electricity or petrol costs, I think you will appreciate that this makes a lot of sense. And to further sweeten the deal, given we don't have the workshop option available, we are doing 1/3 of the distance fee for everyone, which is time limited. So if you want to lock that in, make sure to book in as soon as possible, because this will only be an introductory offer. Speaking of distance, for far locations like, for example, Scotland, we are still happy to take bookings, but we will ask for a little bit of cooperation from you. When we book you in, we just pop you on a list and we will wait until we get at least 1 or 2 more bookings in your zone, and then we can specify the exact date we will come to you to make sure that we are not driving up and down the country for absolutely nothing, because we are still quite a small team. And that's about it. I hope we covered all of the questions you had. Realistically, I'm sure there are some things which we haven't thought of, so please bear with us in the early days while we still refine the system. But the important news is that the diary is officially open. So if your i3 needs anything, you can book it in by calling the main line, which is also listed down below. Thinking longer term, as long as this works both financially and logistically, we will try to keep the mobile servicing running alongside having a static workshop at our new site. Speaking of the new site, there has been lots of broken dreams, but there are finally some exciting news coming soon, so make sure to subscribe not to miss that.